Hi, good evening. This is Alicia James. I am the visionary and the president of the PAM Project. PAM is a social enterprise that advocates for Black mothers and their mental health. This is my fourth year celebrating Black moms who are entrepreneurs. This year is extra special to me. I have chosen not only to celebrate Black moms who are entrepreneurs, but Black moms who have launched social enterprises, moms who have taken the next step and trying to make a change in their community by launching a nonprofit or a social enterprise. Today is day 2 of me interviewing one of those moms who I've selected to interview for this week. Today I've gone from New York, Harlem, and today I am now interviewing a mom from Baltimore who has launched a nonprofit educating our next generation about the art of cooking. And so I'm so excited to bring Nicole in, who is the founder of Black Girls Cook. I've known Nicole for a very long time, and I'm super excited to share her with you tonight, and so she can share her journey of motherhood and also the vision of Black Girls Cook. So I'm going to bring her into the studio to join me now. Hey, Nicole.
Hi, Miss Alicia. Long time no
I'm so,
see.
I know, I'm so excited to share you with everyone. Let me get the right screen. To share you with everyone, and I'll just be transparent and say I've known Nicole since I think 2011. I thought New York or Harlem had you on lockdown, but Baltimore took you back. I kept thinking you were going to come back to Harlem, and
I
like
did too. Because after Harlem, I
Baltimore
was in
had a.
Miami before I came back to Baltimore. So it was a little detour before I got back here. But Baltimore is home. We definitely need organizations like mine here.
Yes, and I want to just, we're going to get into all of that, but I just want to just say how proud I am to call you friend and to
Thank
watch your
you.
journey and the amazing things that you were doing with girls in Baltimore, and then you've been doing just for yourself since we met in 2011.
Hmm.
So formally, just how can I say this? Formally, just tell them some background about Black Girls Cook and where the vision came from.
Sure. So again, my name is Nicole. I am the founder and executive director of Black Girls Cook. Black Girls Cook celebrated 6 years of its existence this past March. I launched it when I was actually still living in New York. At the time, I was living in Jersey, but I launched it um, in the South Bronx. I was able to meet another woman who had she was the director of the Bronx Teen Health Center, and with her and another friend of hers, they gave me the pilot money for me to pilot Black Girls Cook. Um, at that time, I thought it was just going to be me getting into the kitchen with some girls and teaching them cooking, because cooking is what I'm passionate about. But over that 6 week time frame, I learned that the girls in the program wanted to learn how to cook, but they were also happy to be around other girls that were similar to them, like minded like them, that also wanted to learn how to cook. And they had other things going on in their life, like some of them were dealing with bullying, some of them was the oldest of multiple kids, so they didn't get a chance to be their own child themselves. So
Right,
once a week they were able to get in the kitchen, see other girls that looked like them, who thought like them and wanted to do similar things, and be a child for a few hours out of a week. So that's how the program initially started. When I relocated back to Baltimore, it was instrumental to me to make sure that we included life skill sessions into our programming. So now, before the girls actually get into the kitchen and work with women of color, they do life skill workshops for at least an hour or so with other women of color, and teaching them different things that they need to know as they become a young woman, ranging from budgeting to finance, career planning, goal setting. We had a woman that came in and did like a STEM project with them. They learned how to make lip balm. So a lot of things like that before they get into the actual kitchen themselves. And I'm very intentional in making sure the women who teach the class look like them,
right,
because culinary is a white male dominated industry. So I want the girls to see other women who come from neighborhoods like them, who have been successful and made and open up restaurants, or they became a pastry chef, or they are into food media, different things they can see that's attainable. So
Mhm.
it's more than just teaching them cooking. It's about preparing them with essential life skills that they're going to need for the rest of their lives.
I think that is amazing that your vision is a mentoring business enterprise, right? And so something, a couple of things that you touched on was really great to hear. One, that you saw a need, not only to based on your initial idea of educating girls about cooking, but you saw the need to really have those girls be your customers, your clients, and
Hmm.
saw that they needed that to have their own space, and to nurture that, and that they needed peer support, and that your organization provides a safe place for the girls to get that. I think that's
Exactly.
great. And then the other part, that you're intentional about having people that look like them
Hmm.
be a part of the instruction, so that they can feel motivated and inspired that, yes, I can do this. Someone that looks like me is educating me, and I can inspire to do this or whatever they want to do. And that's so important, that young girls or our next generation, whether they're boys or girls, see individuals that look like them in different multiple roles. And
Hmm.
so I'm really happy about that. So I just want to shift a little bit to your motherhood, because I know you
Oh
started
gosh.
this business. I'm all about moms. So one of the things that was I was so excited about 4 years ago, when you had your little mini me, I was like, now I can interview Nicole because she's a mom and she's part of this elite group. How was that shift with you running this business and becoming a mom, and how did you make that work?
it's it's rough. It's very rough. I mean, she just turned 3 in July. Um,
She's
it's a learning
adorable.
experience for both of us. She's new to this world. I'm new to a mom. Because, like you said, 2011, I was in New York thinking I was Black Sex in the City, not worrying about nothing and coming and going as I please. Now I had to really be intentional about the decisions that I make, because it's not going to affect just me, it's going to affect my child. And then I'm also a single mom as well. So I have to also hustle more than I did before, because I have to make sure ends are being met, need to make sure she has a roof over her head, making sure her belly is still full. And then also I'm pouring into other girls as well. So it's definitely a balancing act. I think during this pandemic has really shifted a lot of things, because now everything takes place in the household. Like I
Mhm.
pulled her from preschool right before they started shutting everything down. So I'm like, okay, this doesn't sound safe. Like it's this thing is getting crazier. So I just pulled her. Didn't
Right,
think it would be this long, but yeah, trying to balance um, running an organization, trying to balance being a mom, trying to balance still being Nicole, because I don't want to lose myself in the process.
right.
And then also, there's still other things on my plate that I'm juggling that I still want to launch as well. So it's always something different, always exhausted, but I know over time it definitely will pay off. So it's also has forced me to ask for help. Um, I think I mentioned this to you before, and I had Madison. I suffered sciatic nerve damage, so when I first had her, I couldn't walk the first couple of months. I had to learn how to
Oh,
walk again. I didn't think I'd be
oh,
able to have feeling in my right foot again. So I think that was a way to teach me to start asking for help, because I've always been so independent. Because it really forced me to tell people like, "Hey, I need help. I
right.
can't get to my doctor's appointments, because I can't drive. I can't go downstairs." So it really opened up my eyes into how to ask for help when you need it.
Yeah,
But also, I think it also motivates me now. So I'm like, okay, I thought at one point that I couldn't walk again, and now I can. So, like, that's always my motivation. And
right.
looking at her and seeing how far we both come since then is very motivational for me as well.
Thank you so much for that. I think that is the biggest thing that, especially for Black women, for Black mothers, we just, when we get over our own fears of not being able to do certain things,
Hmm.
then it's just, always maintaining and creating our villages, right?
Right.
And where we're asking for help and not feeling that it makes us less than to say, I need help. Because
Hmm.
if you're going to be successful at whatever ideas and ventures that you want to launch, you can't do it all alone,
You
especially as a
can't.
mom. It's impossible. And whoever's saying that it's easy, they're lying. You know,
Definitely.
and exactly. And you need that because, as what you pointed out, one thing that was really important is that you don't want to lose yourself. But before
Mhm.
you want to lose who Nicole was before she became someone else's mom,
Mhm.
right? And then before you become all the other roles that you've taken on, executive director, entrepreneur, all these other hats, you still want to breathe and be you. And, as I started out saying, I've watched your journey from when I met you here in New York and then returning to Baltimore and just seeing your idea evolve to something that is absolutely necessary. And I hope that people watching it on the live or on the replay will visit your website and will take notes because our girls really do need these safe spaces and really do need these educational programmings where they are prepared for the future. So I just celebrate you on that.
Thank
So
you.
who did you find in the very beginning and ongoing has been your biggest supporters, and who are you surprised has showed up to support you with Black Girls Cook?
Showed up. Well, my mom's always been supportive. Like she's that type of person. Like even when I always tell people I ended up in New York because I had my eat, love, pray moment. You remember the movie with Julia Roberts when she left? And that was me. I walked away from like a 10-year relationship. That sounds a long time, but yeah, it was my college sweetheart. We were together for 10 years. Nothing was really happening. I was in management at a hotel, and I was just, that's not what I wanted to do with myself. So I literally packed up my car. People always say that. Packed up my car, stayed on a
Hmm.
friend's couch in Harlem until I found my apartment in Harlem, and I just made it work. So she's always been supportive of me, even though when things sound real crazy, like you got no job, no apartment, but you still going to do it. Yes, and I'm leaving tomorrow. She still like was there for me, which motivated me. Um, so that's one person I know is always in my corner. And then people that surprise me are people who I don't know, who when I finally meet them, like they may be a social media follower or somebody who just came across something that's been like, I've been watching you for a while, you've been consistent, and that's why like I'm donating to you. So I always tell people like you have no idea who's really watching you. Just
Say
always
that
be
again.
consistent. You
Say
have
that.
no idea who's watching you at all. That's very true. But a lot of people, they sit in the background and they just observe. They want to see what your mission is about. They want to see what your messaging is. I'm very particular about the things I post on social media because my social media handle is all public. Um, and just make sure, like, I'm at the end of the day, I'm still a brand. It may not be a household brand yet, but I do want to make sure my message is clear and is consistent because people do research you, people do share stuff. This is the age of screenshots. Um, so yeah, just always whatever I put out there, I want to make sure that I won't have any regrets from it later.
Yeah, that is so important. I was saying to the mom I was interviewing yesterday that it when you're consistent and you constantly keep showing up, that it gets to a point where your work and your personal brand are interchangeable.
Hmm.
Like, you know, they think of you and they think of girls and cooking, and it's just like
Automatically.
it's automatically and you're branding every day, and people are like, oh, you post every day, and I'm like, yeah, because this is an investment.
Hmm.
And to be mindful of that, like, I shared that I was going to be doing these interviews all week, and a couple of my nonprofit friends shared it, and then I saw some executive HR people tagging, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? So I was like, okay, this is good for me and good for the moms I'm going to be interviewing. I was like,
Hmm.
people are watching you and sharing it. And because there used to be a point where I did share certain information on LinkedIn. I'm like, you know what? We got to be out there. You never know. It's a new
Who's
day.
watching?
Yeah, who's watching? So I just want to say that is very, very true about your personal branding and how you show up for your vision. And I want to mention also, because that is the difference between people who are social enterprise, social entrepreneurs, and those that have a for-profit business.
Hmm.
That you are so connected to the mission that your mindset is a little bit different because you're thinking long terms of impact as opposed to long term and making a profit.
Hmm.
So if you can share, like, what are the one of the long term goals that you want to see happen with Black Girls Club?
It may still be a long-term goal with the world of COVID. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but at one point in time, I wanted it to be, um, I wanted to have like a standalone spot. Like I've been fortunate enough the past 6 years to have different schools or other organizations who have teaching kitchens to donate that space to me for me to utilize for my programming, free of charge. But in the perfect world, I would like to have a space where everything will come full circle. So like we would have a teaching garden outside and have a teaching kitchen. So the girls will come to the gardening program, will plant stuff and reap the harvest and see how something come from seeds and dirt to actually cooking it in the kitchen. So they can see the whole life cycle of it. With COVID now, um, it's a little different. I can expand and touch more girls across the country, which is great because
Yes.
I can get into their homes, but operationally, it's been a little different because before I can like buy things in bulk and we can be together in groups and can divvy things up and be on the fly if something's wrong. Now I'm at like the mercy of these grocery store places. I'm placing orders 3 o'clock in the morning for next day delivery, and then when it's time for delivery, things don't arrive when it's supposed to, or some things are
Mm,
missing. I'm trying to make that up. So that's like one of the biggest things right now, trying to figure out how I can make it more on a national level. But as
right.
far as like you mentioned product, I am working on a spice line for us because I think it's important for these girls who's in our program to be motivated when they cook. So if they open their kitchen cabinet, instead of them seeing these other brands with spices they use every day, they'll have a Black Girl Cook stuff in their kitchen that will make them like be more motivated to cook. So you're one
I
of the
like
first
that.
people I'm telling and whoever else watching. But yes, that's something I'm working on. It's very important. Again, like I said, for representation, and it would definitely motivate them to cook because they have those spices in their kitchen. So
Right. I love that. I love that. And whether you're a nonprofit or a social enterprise, that it's not where you don't have to rely solely on grants to stay in business. You do have to think outside the box of different ways to generate income to sustain your business. And so I love that idea. The girls get to see, their own, your brand on products they're using, and feel like they are part of that family of growing that
mm-hmm.
business. And I did notice there was a couple of events you did where some of the young ladies that started with you in the beginning were ended up being like kind of like mentors to the next generation of
And they
girls.
the brand
Tell me,
ambassadors.
yeah, tell me about that. Tell me about that. I think that's
I
amazing.
love that. For me, it's like I can talk about Black Girls Cook all day and how I'm passionate about it and how I got started, but my best advocates, my best PR people, publicists will be the girls who actually been through the program. So
Right,
whenever we do like cooking demonstrations, like the Baltimore Book Festival, or we do a cooking segment on a TV channel, local TV channel, or whatever the case may be, I always make the point to bring one of the girls because they've been in the program. They can talk about their experience. They can talk about why they like it, how it helped them in their lives. Because I've seen a lot of them like, even if they don't want to become in the culinary industry, their communication skills has improved, their team management, time management, a lot of their like interpersonal skills have definitely improved. So
right,
it's fun for me to go to a festival and put hit set on one of the girls and they like in their element, in their zone, talking to the audience, walking them through the recipe. Because one is like it's showing them a different career path as well. You might not want to be a chef or a pastry chef, but hey, you might want to be the food media, and you would have never
right.
thought about that if you didn't come into this program. So that's I love having them present. Um, Last year we was doing different demonstrations like all across the city, so I had like a whole bunch of girls who wanted to come out and teach the community how to do different stuff, which was good because I'm like they still want to come back and do stuff even when the girls age out of the program. My girls 8 to 15, I have a lot of them who come back who are like our sous chefs who help do stuff in the kitchen. I had a girl 2 Saturdays ago who was in BGC about 3 years ago. She went on to do a cooking competition this past fall for Food Network, and she came back 2 weeks ago and did a cooking class for us. So I love seeing them get inspired and then pursue their career path, however it may be. And she's like 14, so I'm like, her career is so she her light was it, her flame was lit in the kitchen. She didn't want to get into savory. She got into baking. And I love watching her progress, because having the newer girls in the program know that, oh, she was in Black Girls Cook, and oh, she was on Food Network, and she makes bomb cakes, really motivated them. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to take this even more serious now than I did before, because Chef Morgan did it.
Right. You are and really inspiring the next generation. I think that's amazing that, they're learning, as you said before, they're learning about themselves, they're learning their abilities, and the sky's are the limit of what they can do,
Hmm.
from each other. And what it is also nice to, the media will portray Black girls in one way, and that we get to showcase and saying, no, there's so much more to us. We should celebrate our next generation of Black girls and the abilities of what they can do.
Hmm.
When we invest in them and we pour into them and give them the resources that they need to
And
flourish and
show up.
grow. Yes, and just give them what they need. I think that's so important. I'm going to go back a little bit and talk about when this pandemic first started, and you said you pulled your daughter out of school. How was that like for you, like in the very beginning, when you first tried to figure it all
Adapt.
out and how you were going to, yeah, adapt to everything?
It was interesting, because at first it was like you heard about it, was like trickling across the country. Like, oh, okay, well, let's see how this goes. Like, you know what's happening, but you're still like planning. Okay, well, maybe I'll go to the beach in July. Okay, then it got real. Okay, we in the house all day. I'm in the house. I'm tired of going to the park. There is no like separation between the two, because like if you in the same space, your breakfast, lunch, dinner, TV, entertainment, like everything in the same room. You I had to make a conscious effort to get out the house, even if it's on the porch like I am now, or taking a walk to the park. Like, you have to get out and get some sunlight, get some fresh air, even if it's humid, because you can go stir crazy. And I think doing that, the last couple of weeks, I was bad. The first couple of weeks, I would be at the computer working all day and doing all type of stuff. You start getting into a rut, and then you start
Hmm.
really feeling like, damn, like this is a lot. Like, this is a serious mental health issue thing going on. Like, I'm in the house all day. I can't see my friends. I can't get out. I can't do this. I can't. A lot of things that we so accustomed to doing, we
Right.
don't have that freedom right now. And if you're in the house all day and you're working and you're not taking a break from yourself, or you working for hours at a time and not eating because you don't realize, like, oh, the sun was up, now it's down. I had to start carving time out, because I realized that I was doing the same thing. Like, it's funny when you say it out loud, but it's kind of sad when you say, oh, it's like one big day. Like, oh, what day is it? Because you really don't know. Like, you don't, there is no separation from everything. So
Yeah.
trying to do little stuff to try to take time for yourself is something
Yeah.
I think is very important for any and everybody, regardless of what you do. You have to take a step back, walk away from the computer, because I mean, end of the day, nobody, you can't be replaced if something happens, your job or whatever you're doing, don't keep going without you. So you have to take time for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you find with, like, when you got into a rhythm of what that was? What were your go-tos? Like, what really worked for you?
What worked for me, I like, I'm trying to still lose baby weight, but what works for me has been like taking a walk or running at a nearby lake not too far from me, which is good, because like on super hot days, the trees are so dense it blocks a lot of it. Sitting on the front porch like I'm doing now, chilling, drinking a glass of red, whatever. Trying to like just do things that I would normally have done pre-pandemic, and just adjusting. Like, I don't know how many Zoom calls I've been on. Um, Me and my best friend hosted like a small intimate brunch for three of our other close friends this past Sunday, because we typically go to like Dinner and Blanc or like the Rose Festival in the summertime.
Right.
That's not happening. So like trying to do things that, one, make that connection with your friends, because everybody's going through something. Some
Right.
people, even the strong people like myself, may not come out and say, "Oh, okay, I'm going through, like, I'm in a rut. Like, I miss my friends. I need to be around people. I miss that connection to people." And if you
Right.
don't talk about it, people won't ever know. So you have to be intentional on carving out time and making time for people when you can.
Yeah.
Um, so
I think that that is one of the, well, more than one of the problems that many people are facing is shifting, right? And
hmm
creating new realities or new normals and for themselves. And as you said early in the very beginning, it's like, oh, okay, this is just a little time out, and maybe I'll just journal or whatever. And then when we got into the thick of it, it's like, okay, this is really real. How am I going to be okay with all of these changes?
hmm
And I think I've watched a lot of people who are entrepreneurs either jump with the Zoom just to keep not lose momentum and what was happening before. Um, and then some other people, it's like that are not more as introverted people that really do need to be out, and they're having more of a challenge with not being connected, not seeing people.
yeah,
Um, and for me, I'll just say, be transparent. I've been transparent for the very beginning, is that I had issues because a lot of people in New York City weren't in social distancing, weren't wearing masks, and that made my anxiety high. And
hmm
so, I had to learn how to do more Central Park activities. That was my go-to. So it's nice to hear that you have a lake near you. I'm jealous.
Central Park was my spot. Me and my one of my friends, we used to be the only like black girls in Central Park laid out. We would get our sushi, our wine, and hang out. Like, I have bad allergies, but I mean, like, whatever. Take my allergy medicine, put on some bug spray, and get out and just. Cause even the parks be crowded now. Like, y'all was not this park before.
Yes, Nicole. I
Everybody want to
had
be
to.
sightseeing now.
Yes,
Everybody
I
got
had
a
to.
dog. Everybody got a bike.
I'm t- I had to buy a tent from Amazon. I ordered a tent because people, it it's so congested in Central Park now.
Yeah,
It's like, all right, I got to get
like
my
a Great
six
Lawn
six.
area. Yeah.
Yeah, it's out of control. It's out of control. So tell me about, tell all of us about, because this is a lot about your mini me. I like every photo. I'm giving you hearts. I'm giving you hearts.
This is
Can
funny
you?
because like she literally
She's
just
right
came
there.
out. She literally just came out.
Oh,
She
her
came
face
here.
is
Look like
not
she was
all the way
buzzing.
in, Nicole. I want to see her face. Did she just wake up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like,
she.
what is going on?
I enjoy the videos when you guys are walking by the lake and she's on her bike and just. I'm like, oh my God, look at Nicole. She's in the mom zone now. I'm loving all of it. So tell me, what does your team, your support team look like? Your board of directors. Explain what that process is like for people who, because as I said before, so many people apply for this who are not nonprofits, not
hmm
founders, to understand what that life is like. How
Well,
did you go through that process?
I currently have a fiscal sponsor. I actually just applied for my own 501c3 status.
Okay.
Because I think right now, with like the state of everything taking place with the pandemic and the Black Lives Matter movement being more powerful than ever, I've had like an influx of people reaching out, wanting to connect with Black Girls Cook, mainly because of the title, probably. But we also do like culinary related stuff. So I've been able to get much more donations recently without me even having to do a whole lot. So my board of directors are pretty much the board of directors, my fiscal sponsor.
Okay.
But I do have a team of people. I have a person who does our social media to make sure we're very consistent and having, even when we're not in session teaching classes, we always have posts that's related to culinary, or we're featuring someone that's Black, female, um, in the industry. I have someone who helps with the life skills session planning. Once we do have those classes, I have someone that oversees like the gardening and the culinary portion of it. Recently, I had someone who came on board to help with these relationships with these other businesses who want to say, oh, I want to partner with Black Girls Cook to do XYZ. So now she is that person who works with them to figure out what their company is about and how it aligns with us and our mission, if it will be beneficial. Mommy, I finally got somebody who's able. That's already you. Yes, it's me. She sees me on both cameras. I had somebody who I just a volunteer who just came on board to help me with grant writing. Because before all of this, it was me doing everything. Like when I started in the Bronx and even maybe the first 2 years in Baltimore, I was a person looking for the location I had the classes. I was a person trying to get the money for these classes. And then when money I didn't get, I paid out of my pocket. I was a person teaching the classes. Like I did all of it. So now I'm in the point now I'm starting to try to delegate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I also partnered with another organization last year. We piloted a program called the Food Playground, where her organization, the B Org, she does more of social emotional learning, and the emphasis like on STEM programming. So
Mm-hmm.
between her STEM and my culinary, and it's actually in session now. Our third cohort started yesterday. So during the day, the girls learn like have a STEM lab, and then the afternoon, one of my chefs teach the class as well. So for example, if the lesson for the day is acid and bases, once they get into the culinary part, they may do something like a tomato soup with like grilled cheese croutons or something. So they'll get to see one, how STEM is related to culinary, and it's also
Okay.
another way for us to engage with girls of color in the STEM world, because it's just like culinary. There's not a lot of black faces in that industry. So
Right.
us doing something fun like this with the girls is like they're learning a lot of stuff. They get to see how it actually works in the real world, and then they may have more of an interest to get into a science career when they get older.
And that's amazing. I want to just stress something that you pointed out earlier about the shift of being the founder and wearing all the hats and allowing people to help you
Hmm.
so that you can breathe, because it's your baby, it's your vision, and you want to make sure that everything happens the way you would envision it if you want it to happen, but allowing people to help you. And it's really good to hear that you have social media support. Is that also the person that does your PR, or is that
That's been me. Because my
okay?
background is in PR, so it's
Right,
like
right, right.
I know how it is. But yeah, it's like it's important for me to delegate because I'm gonna get burned out. Like if I'm doing everything, something's gonna be stifled. So I had to get to the point, and one, to try to get dedicated people that's volunteer. Like we all volunteer based right now, so I get that $1 billion, $1 million money coming in. I can't pay people a whole lot. I can give them stipends or like a little token of my appreciation, but I think that's one of the hardest things as well when you're trying to find consistent people to volunteer for your organization, because everyone wants to be philanthropic. Everybody wants to be on the board of directors. When it comes down to actually doing the work that's going to make an impact, people don't show up. I don't know how many people I've had who's like, oh, I'm going to do this and my background's in this. And then we get to the gist of things and they disappear. So now I got to do the work that I delegated to you and my work. So
Right.
it's been hard trying to find consistent people, but the ones that I have been consistent, and then I'm eager to see what's going on with the new ones. I just onboarded.
Yeah, I know that before this whole pandemic, there used to be
Okay.
a database. I think it's on a national level where people would sign up to be on boards of directors for nonprofits because one, it makes their resume look good, and also if they were lacking certain skills, it's a way for them to hone in on those skills as a volunteer.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that you might be successful doing that now during the pandemic as people are looking for work. They still want to be busy doing something that's making an impact. So,
Right,
um,
especially virtually now. I think everybody's trying to
yeah,
find some way to still be connected. So,
yeah.
yeah, and I think that's the
I gotta,
hardest thing too, trying to find people
yeah,
that's consistent.
I have to remember when I think of the name of that listing. I think it's called board development or something. When I think of it, Nicole, I'll shoot it to
These
you.
bugs sound me crazy. Please send
Yeah,
it to me.
I'll send it to you because there used to be another group here in New York. It's called Taproot.
I
Um,
remember Taproot. I think I
yeah,
spoke with somebody a while ago about my website. So I think I have, yeah,
yeah. So
I'm
they
familiar with that
also
one.
try to recruit professionals.
Sorry.
That's that's part of being a
Mom
mom.
life.
Yeah, exactly. In real time, can't make this up.
I got it.
Um,
It's okay.
yeah, so Taproot is one that recruits professionals who have certain skills that want to volunteer. I don't know how things are going for them now, but I would check them out because
Okay.
consistency is really crucial when you really, really need someone to do a role. It's not like you're just making it up. You really do need a marketing person. You really do need, a legal person or whatever that position is. You really need them, and not to flake out on you at the last minute. So that's super important. So I want to touch on, I know I asked you privately, but is there an ask that you need from the public right now? Like, if you could have your way, like give me two things. I have lipstick on my teeth again. Give me two things that you would really benefit from right now from the public.
Right
Donations,
now,
money.
yeah, I would definitely say donations. Because the budget now is way more to put on a virtual class. It may seem like it's not, but because I have to send groceries to each girl's house now individually versus it being like a group thing, it has definitely went up in cost. So before I could probably accommodate about 20 girls with like $160 and I'll have all the groceries I need. Now I'm averaging about $50 per recipe because I have to buy, you have to have certain quantity to get things delivered. So definitely financial donations to ensure that the program keeps going along. Um, and then also I would say just, yes, sorry, financial donations, of course, and also supplies. I mean, gift cards
I
or,
didn't hear the other thing.
sorry, product is also great for us. Most of our budget is ate up because of groceries and supplies and cookware, like all that stuff, it adds up. So I have a whole ton of stuff myself that I have when we have in-person classes, but now I don't know what these girls have in their homes. So now I need to make sure they have the basic cooking utensils. They have a cutting board. They have the knife. They have all of that stuff before we can actually get into like the learning part of it. So you have to be mindful that I can't just assume that these girls have certain skillets or they have colanders, like things that we all may take for granted. Some of the girls don't have. So to avoid that uncomfortable conversation that these girls won't know how to have with me or won't admit to having, just send it to them so they know, okay, this is what you need for class. Everything you need is right here. If you don't have it, here's a gift card just in case the grocery order that I ordered is missing some stuff. Review your recipe, see what you don't have, and if you don't have it, use this gift card I already given you to go to the store and get it. Just
Right.
making things as easy and accessible for them.
You know, I want you to speak about your garden, but I just want to go back because I'm listening to what your second ask is. Well, the first and second about food and having the girls have the all the cooking materials that they need and the food that they need. 2 years ago, I went on a fam tour upstate New York, and we, New York State paid all the expenses for like me and like seven other people to go all throughout Dutchess County. And the biggest push was farm to table. Like
Hmm.
everything is like farm to table. And I saw a few places where a lot of farmers were like stuck with food because of the pandemic. Do you think there's a way that maybe, I don't know who's watching this live or on a replay, if you could get food shipped to you so that you have it for these girls? Because I know that a lot of pantries, they get a lot of donations, and
Hmm.
um, food to give to the community because they would have to just, it goes bad. You
Yes.
know, I wonder if there's a way that if someone's watching to
Right.
send Nicole some food for our girls so they can cook with it.
Or at
I mean,
least something, because I know a friend of mine, she has a farm here, a local urban farm here, and she's one of the sites that the USDA ships stuff to every week. So she gets about 200 produce boxes. So one day I did pick up some for my girls, but because of it being produce and it's not like we all meeting in a central location, I literally had to drop these boxes at everybody's house because one, I couldn't leave it in my car. Two, I didn't want them to have to come to my house because my girls are from all over the city and their parents might not be able to get it. So that was
yeah,
like had it been a time where we were in person, it'd been easier to get these boxes. We gonna meet in class, take this box home. Now I'm like, okay, I got these boxes. They're free. I can definitely find a recipe that we can use for these boxes. But now I got to get into. So that was like the hardest thing with that. Like I cut off the cost of buying groceries. Now I'm spending money in gas trying to get it to everybody.
right. So what do you think about? Because I know that that would help maybe with some of the costs. I mean, she still needs money, so I don't want
Still need
to
money.
still need
Still
money
needs money.
donations.
Like that's not going
Um,
to go anywhere.
but maybe some partnerships with some food brands that could send you some stuff that you could help with some recipes. Because how long is your program? It started already and goes through the whole school year.
So I have several programs. The culinary program starts in the fall. We typically do that 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how much funding we get for that particular session. Um, that's going to be different this year because I usually wait to start that around the end of September, early October, depending on so the girls will get a chance to get acclimated in school. But now with this virtual life taking place, I probably do it a little bit later. I don't know. It's probably never going to be a perfect time to start it because everything is taking place at school here in Maryland. And same for New York. Like everybody's doing virtual. The garden program typically starts the middle of May and runs through the end of August. And then the other program I'm telling you about, the food playground, which is a combination between my organization and another organization. That's a 2 week program, Monday through Friday. So we started that yesterday, and then their last class is next Friday.
Okay. Okay.
But like gift cards are helpful too because a lot of times, um, most of these grocery stores do deliver. So I could give the girls the grocery list. This is what you need to get, which is another skill. You need to know how to budget and plan in advance, and they can order it themselves and they get delivered to their homes themselves.
Okay. So, do you have a amount? So I know I've seen a few times you've done some fundraisers on social media. Is there, if you had a goal of a budget, like of how many gift cards or maybe $10,000 would help you get through now through the December? Or
Yeah, 10,000 would definitely get us to.
I just threw that out there, Nicole. But
Yeah, I'm saying 10,000 is a good number because I know before I did a program for 6 weeks for 5,000, and we were able to like get creative with stuff. We're able to like include seafood into like the teachings and not just stick with like um, poetry and things like that. Um, right now, I would say the average would probably be 150 for each girl for a 6 week program, but that's based off of the session that just started yesterday. One girl's 5 week, 5 day um, grocery bill is about $78. So 150 would probably be like a good average to accommodate one girl for a 6 week program.
okay, okay. So that, I mean, that speaking to is this okay? I'm just seeing the comments. There was a lady was on yesterday, so I appreciate her speaking. Um, it always helps when people have a dollar amount so they know what, how they can help
It
and
goes
what,
to.
yeah, what it goes to. And I used to run a mentoring program years ago, and having people say, okay, if I gave this much, this is what it will help with. So 150, and the average number of girls in your program is, well, I don't want to even say average because you have girls that could be outside of Baltimore, right?
Yeah,
That
they could
might
be
want to
anywhere
participate.
now.
Yeah,
That's why I told somebody recently, like, "Oh, I wish I had something like this with my school in LA." I'm like, "Girl, we virtual now. We can make it happen."
right. So let's expand it. So I'm putting into existence that you can get some sponsors.
Right. Even if it's not groceries, and we still have to fundraise the groceries, even if I can get like donations for like a cooking supply kits that have all of the basic cookware that these girls will need to actually do these recipes would be very helpful. Because again, not to say a lot of the girls in the program are low income, but most of their parents are single parent households, so they don't have the freedom and the time to work and come home and then go shopping for this and that. If it's accessible for them already, that's one less thing they got to stress about.
Right, right. Well, you know what? Even if whatever, regardless to what their status is, or they're married or they're single parents, our everyone's financial situation is completely different, and
Everybody
so
needs help.
everybody needs help at this point. And I think that as I'm listening to you, your program would even just be good as an add-on for schools. I was
Hmm.
talking to a mom that's down in Florida, and she is interim principal. And because everything is remote learning, it's still learning. And
Hmm.
it's giving, when I think about your program, I think about, I'm dating myself right now. I used to have home ec, right?
I had home ec too, so I made
Okay.
pillows and all that good stuff.
But, you know, a lot of schools don't have
Don't
home
do it.
ec anymore. And so I think, just putting this out this for you, Nicole, is this even, promoting and marketing it to school districts to have you teach, as a profit business, as a
Hmm.
um, instructor, to educate more of our kids about cooking, the love of cooking, and for them to see your face, right?
Right.
As an instructor, I think that would be great. As I was saying to this mom the other day, she teaches Spanish, and she's down in Florida. I was like, why are you just limiting? We all need to learn a second language now.
Right. House I know.
So
I don't know how many times I took Spanish.
yeah, so I said, you got to utilize technology and package it and educate our kids on all these different things that they can sit home and learn. And because everyone is not allowing their kids to return to school, so
Yeah, and it's
I,
something
I'm just
different.
yeah,
It's something
I'm
different to
giving you
keep
another
them.
job, Nicole, to teach all
Like
our
we,
kids how to cook. And first, come to New York and encourage our mayor to keep our kids home so they
oh
can cook
man.
at home.
I just talked to a friend of mine the other day that's like, I don't even know how he got into office. So
Yeah, I'm just gonna
sending
just
y'all
switch back.
blessings.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
At least
back,
the
switch back
governor
to
has
because
some sense.
if I talk about politics, that'll just take us away from Black girls to cook, and I don't want to do that. So one gift cards, at least a gift card of 150 and a total of maybe 30, 50. How many gift cards?
A good 50 sounds like a good number.
Okay, so
Um, product. Somebody could donate a bunch of like I had somebody locally who donated cooking oils because anything you think of that you use in the kitchen is helpful. There's one less thing that we have to use our budget for to accommodate girls. Like I would
yeah,
really want to. I don't want to keep having to turn girls away. I remember 2 years ago when we opened up the fall session, we had like 78 girls apply for 15 slots. And I'm like, okay, this is great because our name is getting out there and people are being more aware of what's happening. But it's sad it has turned away that many girls. So
wow,
at this point, it's like I want to make it accessible for more people, especially in this virtual world now. Like, there's no reason why I cannot do that. You just got to
right,
make sure that I have the resources. Like, I have the little Zoom set up. I have the multiple cameras so you can see what I'm doing. I recently piloted the new curriculum with my former girls. One, because I haven't seen them in a while. I know they're probably home and bored this summer because they can't see their friends, they can't get out, and they can't come to the programming. So it was like a win-win for both of us. I piloted the new curriculum, Now, all of our recipes are centered around the transatlantic slave trade. So they get to see why certain foods we eat or certain foods we have in our table, they don't realize the history of it. They understand how black eyed peas came here. They understand how we got how rice was very important. They learned about the Gullah Geechee culture. So I'm teaching them. I've been I've taken time to educate myself on a lot of Black food history, how it pertains to the United States, and I'm passing it down to them so they understand more than okay, it's New Year's Eve, we got to get out black eyed peas and collard greens, but why? Like they need to understand that and how it got here, and it
Right,
didn't just pop up here. Like our ancestors were
right.
slaves and they grew it, and they're learning that now. So getting more deep down into stuff with them with the cooking of it. I want them to walk away from it and learn more about just cooking. I want them to know the history of it, the importance of it, and they're learning a life skill along the way.
You know what? I really want you to package that and sell that so more of our next generation and maybe some adults too can and know that history and appreciate that. That's part of our culture.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that would be great for you and the brand and the longevity of Black Girls Cook. I think that's amazing that you're doing that. You offer that piece to it,
Hmm.
so our girls are really understand and celebrate
The
us
why.
and our culture. Yeah, it's so
And be
important.
more proud of it. So they have
Yes,
to, because who's going to teach them if we don't?
right,
A lot of
exactly.
us didn't know. Like I said, I'm slowly learning this stuff. Like luckily, a lot of people, I think, with all of these chef shows on TV, the culinary industry been boosted up, and you having more and more Black people being present and writing books and things. And there's a lot of documentaries out recently as well that talks about the history that we knew nothing about. So
Hmm.
they're not going to learn it in school. They're not going to go out their ways to learn about it. So why not infuse it into something they already love to do anyway?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we've been on for almost an hour. So one of the things I want to just you to tell people is how you feel about Black Girls Cook. Like this vision, this burning desire to do this work. Could you see yourself doing anything else?
Um, I'm very passionate about it, as you can see. It's definitely growing. When I started, like I said, I had no idea I'd still be doing it 6 years later. And I definitely see the potential to keep growing. Like I think me changing the curriculum and adding the Black food history part into it is actually a rebranding thing for me because I want to be very intentional. I'm intentional about them seeing Black women. I'm intentional about them seeing all the opportunities that's here in our backyard. So teaching them that I think is going to definitely open up more doors, like you said, it's going to open up, start new conversations, and it's
Right,
definitely going to put me into a space where on a more national level because I don't
right,
think anyone else is doing. I mean, some people may do bits and pieces of it, but they're not targeting girls of color, adolescent
right,
girls. I mean, the age that I target is intentional because it's a very confusing time. You're learning about who you are as a person. You're trying to figure out what your voice is, what's happening to my body. It's like there's so many things that's going on during this 8 to 15 age group. Um,
right.
so getting to them at that age and teaching them about a bunch of things that's going to be with them for the rest of their lives is very important. So for me, I have a daughter now, so I've been doing this before I had my own little girl. So I need to make sure programs like this is still in existence when she gets older. Because I was lucky enough to have programs and organizations and big sisters that helped me along my way throughout college and even to now. So I need to make sure that programs are still available for her success and growth in the future.
Nicole, your light got dark. I don't know if
It's
it's
it's dark
you.
outside. Can you see me?
Oh, it's dark outside. Okay, there you go. Okay. I don't know if you had touched something. So one of the other things I want to say, if you started talking about impact, right? I want to close with that and saying, what is what would impact look like to you in terms of working with Black girls? How would you be able to say, I see progress happening?
I mentioned it a little bit before, like just watching a lot of girls who were like introverts, how they're like showing girls knife skills or they're taking amongst themselves to like be big sisters to the smaller girls. I get a lot of girls all the time who come back, but also I would say I always laugh. My first complaint from Black Girls Cook was a parent who was like, "Well, before they pack lunches, they would just like make a sandwich and throw it in the bag. Now they're slicing apples and dipping it in the cinnamon and doing all of this, so they're taking more
That was a
pride.
complaint?
They take too long to pack that lunch." So I would say, so
Are
it's
you
like they
kidding me?
they take a. He was joking though, but they're taking more pride in like what they're making. They're getting more creative. I have a parent who's always sending me photos of like how his daughter's transformed that backyard into like this edible garden. So a lot of them, they may not like say it in class, like, "Oh, I love that, I'm gonna do this," but I hear from their parents that they're cooking more, they're making stuff for the holidays, they're growing things in their backyard, they're entering this competition. So it's sparking an interest in them.
Yeah,
Even like I said, even if they don't do culinary, like they were having fun with it, and that's great for me.
that's amazing. And thank you for bringing me back to the point I had wanted to touch on again about your garden. So I know you got some support with that. How are things going that with the garden?
Well, right now that's like on hiatus. Last year we didn't do one because I was actually taking a farmer training program myself, with the hopes of like launching it back this year. So the first year was fun. We had a shared garden in South Baltimore. Um, but right now we've been letting the girls garden at home. Like a
Okay.
lot of them, they'll get supplies. They'll transform their parents' backyard, and that's it. But we really haven't had the chance to um, do anything with them this year because of COVID. It's kind of hard to like teach them how to garden over Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to just ask about that because I know that some people have gotten more into gardening because of
Hmm.
fear of food and COVID, and a lot of the workers for plants and places, were getting sick, and so people were like, investing more into growing their own food.
Yeah.
And I remember here in New York back in March, I started buying salt and buying for my own self. I was like, I'm gonna grow my own stuff because things is just looking scary. And so I hope that you eventually go back to that because also people have been making money with their own gardens and
Yeah.
planting their own stuff. And so it will be great also for you down the line that if you can use that as another source of income for girls, Black Girls Cook. I think that would be amazing. I've enjoyed this interview,
I
and
did too. It's been
yeah,
too
and
long seeing your face.
yeah, I've enjoyed showing you off and learning about more about what you're doing with girls on a national level. I don't even just say Baltimore anymore. And in some ways, this pandemic has been a blessing because it's pushed people to grow and think
Hmm.
outside the box and expand their brand because they've
And cook
had
at home more.
and cook it. Yes, thank you. Cook at home more and save money. And but some people that maybe were intimidated about being visible on social media or any platforms had to push themselves to get out there and say either I do this or I'm not going to be in business. And so I'm happy to have you as my second interview, and I hope that people will donate. She needs at least, I'll say, 60 gift cards of $150 each
Yes, yes,
uh,
yes.
to keep her program growing. And I'll even say she needs sponsors to take this program on a national level so not only girls in Baltimore can be inspired to cook and learn different life skills, but all of our girls, whoever's able to watch and participate in Black Girls Cook should participate in this program because we need our girls to have as many life skills as possible so they can thrive and inspire to be whatever they want to be, and just use this program as a foundation to do those things. So I thank you, Nicole, for the vision. I thank you for the follow through, because a lot of people have great ideas, but it takes leadership, commitment, passion, to keep showing up and doing the
Yeah.
work.
And you
And
definitely encounter lots of no's. Like, don't get it twisted. People know. I
yeah,
remember meeting with somebody a while ago, and they were saying like nobody talks about like the downturns. Like it's been a lot of times things told me no. It's been a lot of times I would have given up, but
yeah,
I definitely see the need for it. So I'm definitely going to keep getting being. It's my motivation.
yeah. I think that, um, remembering why you started it, right?
Hmm.
So, I didn't realize that you said it started from the idea of the pilot from in the Bronx.
Hmm.
And Shawana was my first mom yesterday. She mentioned her why. And people like, that is it. Because even when you get these no's, you have to remember your why. Why did I start this? And to journal your ideas and your notes, because being an entrepreneur, whether it's for profit or nonprofit, it can be very lonely, and you have to keep motivating yourself or remembering the wins that you have, and listening to you talk about how the girls that aged out of the program came back, and seeing them teach the next generation, where you can sit back and observe.
Hmm.
That would be like a high for me, to see that the seeds you planted in them are now being they're planting into the next
Other
generation.
people.
And you just get to sit back and watch and be in awe of that, and know that you played a part in their growth. Um,
You just reminded me of
wow.
something too when you said remind you of the why, and I want to say like before we wrap up, working in
Hmm.
a nonprofit industry and trying to fundraise money and doing all spending these hours doing these thesis length RFPs. At the end of the day, most of the people who's reading my narratives don't look like me. They don't understand the impact. They don't understand my why. So I'm getting turned down. So if I'm aware of that and okay with that, okay, the people who's reading these grants don't understand the importance of Black Girls Cook because their kids aren't Black girls. They don't look like me, so they don't understand why I'm so passionate about it. So for most people, I think that will probably turn them away. So okay, I can't get these grants, so how am I going to get this money to fund the program? So my next step was okay, well, I'm in Baltimore. I'm close to DC. I'm close to a lot of areas. What companies do I have in this area who can sponsor what I'm trying to do? And once I did that, I started finding so many companies that's close by who believe in the mission. And whenever you need something, let me know. So now I have somebody who can donate spices if I need it last minute. I can have somebody to donate oils. And if I can't, if I rely solely on grants from these
Yeah,
local foundations, and organizations to give me money, we would have been Black Girls Cook wouldn't have been here as long as it has been. So it's definitely, like you said earlier, trying to think of other streams of income for your organization
yeah.
because you can't solely rely on grants from
No,
these companies, from these places.
yeah. And you know, I'm doing this for two reasons. It's August is Black Business Month, but it's also Black Philanthropy Month. And so, in another lifetime, I was a grants manager for a private foundation, and I was saying to Shawana yesterday that, funders, when they do give, my role was to research people that sent, in kind, I mean, in, letters of intent, right? And I would research and see your track record. Were you already doing the work before the
Before.
grant? Right? You have to be consistent. If you just come with this great idea and say, I want a grant, but you don't even have your personal life, nothing is connected to showing that you can even follow through, like, the answer is gonna be no. Or your credibility, or people, like, you have to be doing the work regardless if you get the grant or not. People need to see she's about that life,
Right.
right? And that's like, I can trust her. I can give her a multi-year grant because she's connected to the community. She's invested in, youth development. She's her background is in this and whatever. She's going to follow through. And this is a great idea, right? And people need to understand that. And so I'm glad you and I both are together on that, because whoever's watching this live, because it's so true, or on the replay, to just like this is not just a show and tell. This is really your level of commitment has to be so entwined with your mission that's like even if you never got a dime, you would still do the work
Yeah, I still do
because
it.
yeah, you would still do it because it's like you know uh, I can't even express like everybody has that purpose and everybody has to find that planted seed for them to say money or not, I would do this. I would stand behind this cause. I would do the work because it's so important in our community. And that is the reason why I selected you and the four other moms to showcase because we need to celebrate those that do the work in spite of and
Hmm.
make things better in our community. Nicole, as it's getting darker in Baltimore,
I
I
know. It's
barely,
getting.
I
I
barely
got my
see
sexy light on right now.
you. You're fading
I know.
fast.
I'm trying to move closer and closer. Like, come into the light,
Yes,
Kaylee.
yes, come into the light. Because I'm like, I gotta let you go because nobody can see you. Okay, great. I can keep talking to you because you and I are both stressing something that if anybody is watching this live or on a replay or even thinking about starting a social enterprise or starting a nonprofit, you need to know that your level of commitment needs to be consistent. You might have low days when you want to quit, but remember the why. And you need to surround yourself with people who will champion you, who will hold you accountable, who will encourage you
Hmm.
with not just words, but with support, real support, meaning
Action.
financial support. Or if they don't have financial support, they will help you with connecting you with their resources. Because sometimes people that you know might not have deep pockets, but they know people that have deep pockets
Right.
and will share the information. And that's how it works. And you have to be a good connector. And Nicole pointed out something that was really, really true. Is that she shifted the whole narrative. She didn't solely rely on funders. She looked at what was available to her. So she's in Baltimore. She looked at DC and what's around me, what's available to me. You need to be a resourceful person. That. I mean, that is key for being in this work, advocating for a cause, advocating for a particular community, because you are the voice for the people who don't have a voice. And so you have to constantly be creative with that. Now you're just glowing right now. Yeah, I think, yeah, I love the tail end of this conversation because all those things are so important that people just want grants and this free money, but there's a price to
And
pay.
right. It's not that easy. It's not going to come to you easy. Or if you do get it, you're not going to get the amount you asked for. You might get like a fourth of it. So,
But even if you do get it, you got to be accountable to it.
right. Make it work. Can't do
Yeah.
20 girls this time. I can do 10. So,
Yes.
adaptability. You have to adapt.
Yeah. Yeah. So, my friend, I kept saying I was going to come to Baltimore and see you, but
No.
this Rona is putting a damper on lots of
Everything.
relationships, and but I will see you in your mini me one day soon, hopefully next year. So I'm going to send you
Yes.
air kisses and an air hug. You can't see my arms, but they're extended.
Look, like I was hoping I would have got up there this year to do a picnic. I was like, I have to take her to Central Park and do a picnic in the park. Then Rona showed up, like, maybe 2021. So we'll see.
Well, you can drive here and just, social distance. You can still do come to Central Park, but yeah. Can I say goodbye to your mini me?
Madison, say bye.
Bye.
Acting shy.
It's like, who's that lady?
But this was great. Thank you so much, Alicia. Truly
Yes.
appreciate
Again,
you.
60 gift cards of $150 a piece. That is the ask for Black Girls Cook.
Please, our girls need it more now
Yes.
than ever.
And if you can't do that, share this video out. Share all her links. She's on Instagram, she's on Twitter, she's on Facebook.
Facebook.
I covered everyone, right?
Yes.
share, follow, and tag other families and moms who might be interested in being a part of her program. And if you can't do gift cards, make a donation of any amount to support her. Thank
Or
you so
someone
much.
who knows how to do newsletters. I need to do newsletters to tell my story more weekly.
Oh, you need
That's
newsletters.
another thing. I need the consistency of a newsletter to people who's not on social media is definitely needed. So that's one of the other things I'm looking for. So I probably try to tap root for that too. But that's definitely something I need right now.
You know what? What about Howard University? Maybe any journalist students? No?
I should I'll reach out and see. I just got
Yeah,
connected to somebody at Towson University, so I'll ask them as well. There's a lot of
yeah,
universities around here, so we'll see.
yeah. All right. So she needs help with her newsletter as well.
It's little things,
Yeah, look, you should put a list on your website if you don't, like, so we can check off.
right?
Because while people are looking for work or not looking for work, they can
You may come
be,
across it.
yeah, be a support. So, newsletter and gift cards and donations of any amount.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You
Say bye
too.
bye.
God bless. So, we are made it through our second night of interviews of Black moms who are social entrepreneurs who are making an impact in our community. And I've been enjoying this so far, and sharing these moms and their visions and their work with you. And I hope that you will support them. So far, first night we had Silent Cry with the founders, Shawana, and tonight we had the founder of Black Girls Cook, Nicole. Please look for them, follow them on social media platforms, check out their websites to learn more about the work that they're doing. And if you have the capacity to support them in any way, whether it is volunteering, to utilize your skills to help them grow their brand, their business, and their mission work, or you're able to make a donation of any amount, please do so. As Nicole pointed out tonight, she really needs help with food for the girls so that they'll be able to participate in cooking lessons, virtual cooking lessons. And so it averaged out to be about $150 per participant. And so that's 50 girls or more, even though she is looking to expand um, her reach on a national level without being present with the girls. So any donation would be greatly appreciated. Um, Tomorrow, I will be speaking to a mom from California who is doing advocacy work with prison reform. So I hope that you will join me tomorrow, the same time at 7 p.m. You can watch live on Facebook on the PAM Project page or on YouTube. So until then, I say good night to you and take care. And if you're watching this on the replay, please add any comments or suggestions or just feedback. I would love to hear what your thoughts are about these live interviews. And hopefully you might be one of the moms I'm interviewing next year. But until then, have a good night. Take care.